and welcome to another edition of Seek Purpose, Live Dreams. I'm Shaniqua Cousins, your host. Today we have a special lineup of guests to include some of my favorite mother and daughter peers. Today we'll have a candid discussion about success, prioritizing in life, and living a life without fear. Joining us today we have Ms. Tamika Maddox.
Hello.
Ms. Tanya Holman.
Hello there.
And Ms. Adrienne Somerville.
Good afternoon.
Thank you so much for being here today, ladies.
Thank
you for having us.
Our pleasure.
Taking time out of your busy schedules to just really have a candid discussion. When I started thinking about this particular segment, it's something obviously that is near and dear to my heart. Really having a dialogue with other mothers with similar backgrounds, yet diverse backgrounds. Mothers, obviously. And just, I thought it would speak to the hearts of so many women when we can be open and candid about our lives. Not just amongst ourselves, but our daughters are here watching us as well. And I just really wanted to have that discussion and let it be thought-provoking for someone that may be watching.
Okay.
So we chatted a little bit earlier. I told you I don't typically like to share the questions because I am very much a proponent of just raw dialogue, cameras aside, lights aside, and really just having that that openness, the realness of a conversation. But I did, share with you a little smidget of what we were talking, just a tidbit of what we would be talking about today. But I just think it's going to be great, natural dialogue.
Absolutely.
So with that said, I wanted to start with Tamika.
Yes.
I know you're the owner of your own hair salon.
Yes.
Head of Style.
Yes, I am.
And I just want to commend you on stepping out, on taking that leap forward in your life.
Thank you.
So, but with that said, I wanted to ask you, how do you define success?
Having a positive attitude, definitely number one. You have to believe in yourself, go for your dream, you'll be successful, and it's always a blessing to have, other people following your dream with you, and also believe in yourself as well.
That's awesome. Having that support system.
Exactly. That's
awesome.
very important. If you have that, then you can go for what you want in life. If you have a really good support-based system.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yes.
I love it. That's why I like this particular dialogue. When other women can support other women, we can go so much further.
Definitely.
So, Miss Tanya,
Yes.
how would you define success?
Let's see. I actually concur. I actually agree with what Tamika said, a lot of her thoughts. For me, success can be described in a couple different ways. I've been married for 20 years, so I think that's success.
Okay.
A lot of challenges with that, but God be the glory, I'm still here and he's still here. We're both still living, so that's good.
Right.
With my business, again, stepping out on faith and having that foundation and having the courage to really move forward and be impactful to women and girls. And I think that also to have a good support system helps as well. And just really make sure you have that relationship with God.
Yeah,
that's first in my life. Make sure that foundation is set. Want to make sure my girls are successful. I just sent a daughter off to college, so I'm excited about that, and want to make sure that she goes off to be a model citizen and get married and have children. So I think not just success around financial success, but just success in general to me just means a whole lot of components. So
awesome.
Those are some of my thoughts.
That's awesome. And you mentioned your business.
Yes.
You're the founder of Women of Excellence,
yes,
a nonprofit organization here in our area.
Yes.
And I just want to commend you again for all of the great work that you're doing.
Oh, thank you.
And most importantly, just having the courage. I think courage is something that we take lightly. But it takes so much courage to just be able to step out on faith.
Absolutely.
And do what you do every day.
Yeah.
So I commend you on that.
Oh, thank you. It's come a long way, and it's a long way to go, but we're making progress.
Yeah.
Making progress.
Miss Adrienne,
Yes.
I'll let you end that. I'll let you finish up with how do you define success?
So success for me, I'm going to go out on a limb and follow a thread of peace, if you will.
Okay.
Having peace in my life.
Yeah.
And witnessing it in the lives of others, I think is extremely important. Meaning I'm in alignment with what God has for me, and I'm blessed in that regards. I'd also go out on passion for what we do, passion for all of those whom we have an opportunity to engage in, poised and positioned to help others and reap those blessings. So I think for me, success would be a culmination of all of those things, having peace, having passion, and being poised and positioned to better others.
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you all. I have another question, and I know not only, I struggled with it in the beginning, being a mom, and I'm sure that you ladies could relate to this particular question, and it's about prioritizing ourselves. So many women have gotten the message that when you become a wife or you become a mother, that you should lose who you are, and then for some reason you become number 100 on the list of things to do.
Yes.
And for me, I recognized when I had my daughter that, number one, my relationship with God is first and foremost. And then my relationship with myself was number two. And my relationship also with her father, my husband, and then my relationship with her. And then in that order is how I see myself prioritized in my life. But it took a while for me to really become comfortable with that. Because in the beginning it felt like a selfish act.
Right.
But what I recognized is that if I wasn't really prioritizing myself before my husband and my daughter, that I was no good for them.
Right.
So I had to put myself on the list of things to do.
Right.
But how do you I'll start with Adrienne. How do you prioritize yourself in your life?
Wow. Admittingly, I am not probably thriving in this area. I've not mastered it, sadly. I'd like to work on that. I think I'm a work in progress in that regards. I try to balance multiple things, and I think I perhaps spread myself too thin all too often, and so I don't feel that I'm giving 100% of the best to probably anything because I'm spread out so thin. But I do like to continue to give and contribute, so I take on probably more than I should in that regard. So I haven't really mastered it, to be honest with you. I think I'd like to say, in that very same order, I'd like to live my life, but I'm not there yet, to be honest with you. I'd be dishonest if I said I was all in alignment accordingly, but no, I'm still working on it.
And I think it's great that you at least recognize that you're not. You know, and some of us, you know, admittingly, or we not wanting to admit that, you know what, I don't have it all lined up the way that I foresee it, but I'm working on it. So I commend you for even being honest with us.
It may appear to most people, to be honest, that, whoa, she's got it together. And then when I get back home, it's like, whoo, that was a lot. So, yeah, it's interesting what you may portray and others may perceive. But to be honest, no, I still have to work on that, and I have to be deliberate and conscientious at points to just let things go in an attempt to get those priorities better aligned.
And I think it's important, and Tanya, I'll let you piggyback off of this. You mentioned what others may perceive. I think for as women, perception is a lot. You hold yourself enslaved to the thoughts of others.
Yes.
So that perceived, is it their perception or is what we're giving off?
Right. Probably a combination.
You know,
It's a combination of both.
Yeah.
You think?
Yes, definitely.
I think there's an expectancy that you would have it together as a
Yes.
working mother, as a sister,
Right.
as a wife.
But a lot of those expectations too probably are self-imposed.
Yes.
You know, we have this thought that we can do it all, and sometimes no is not a bad word.
Yeah.
And to piggyback off of Adrienne's thoughts, you know, I'm coming a long way. I'm also a work in progress, but I've learned to master the word no. I can't do it. I can't do it because I felt myself being overwhelmed.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, so it's hard for me to say no, but at the same time, it's refreshing.
Isn't it?
Yes,
You
it
know,
feels good.
It feels good.
Does it
Because it's not,
really?
because
it takes a while.
Yeah, and
to
it's
get
not.
to that level of
It's saying
maturity.
yes to me.
Yes.
And like Shaniqua said, I can't be any good to anyone else if I'm not good to myself.
Exactly.
Right.
The girlfriends, the lunches we do, it's important.
Yes.
I encourage
You
my
have to
husband
make
to
time
do
for
those
yourself.
things for himself because we need to
Exactly.
get rejuvenated,
Yes.
renewed a little bit. So I don't have a problem saying no anymore. I like to do all things, but I just, you know, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't.
And that's
So,
a key point.
Yeah.
For women that are watching, we can't do everything.
Can't
You know,
be superwoman all the time.
You
Right.
can't. But having the priorities in order, to me, is so important because our lives are they're made. It's an order There's an order to our
Very
lives. Whether
sequential.
whether we recognize it or not, whether we
Right.
accept it or not, there's an order to our lives.
Right.
And when we're out of order, things are
Right.
just
They're
out of
chaotic.
whack,
Very
it's
chaotic.
chaotic.
Right.
So I'm just, again, so grateful that you
Yeah.
guys could be here and have this candid dialogue. Something else that I wanted to talk about was, I said I wanted to plaster it on my walls, was the question, what would I do if I was not afraid?
Mm.
When you really think about the things that you would do, the thoughts that your personal thoughts, or what you've journaled, things, from childhood on, what would I do if I was not afraid? And I think about that question often, and I have a long list, but actually stepping out on it is something different. So I'll start out with Tamika. What would you do if you were not afraid?
I think that I probably would multitask and try to run the various amount of salons and spas, but eventually I'm afraid now to do that, but maybe down the road,
Okay.
I'll get to that point.
Okay.
So that's something that I am afraid of doing right now at one time,
Okay.
but eventually I'll get there.
Okay.
Crawl, walk, run.
Yes, crawl before you walk,
Yeah.
Exactly.
and then you'll be successful.
Right.
That's-
Yeah.
You
Because
can't
I had
jump
all
too
the
much
faith
too
in your
fast.
first
Right,
shot.
yes.
Yeah.
Thank
So,
you.
yes, exactly.
Thank
So I'm proud of you.
And I come here often to get my
Yes,
wigs split.
frequent the spot regularly.
Yeah, let's
I encourage other ladies to
Yeah,
do so
right.
as well.
What about you, Adrian? What would you do if you weren't afraid?
I would resign from my full-time position, and I would become a full-time law student. And I would let everything come as it may. I always aspired to be an attorney. Again, I think it's a position of servitude, something I like to do. I like the legalities, I like the analytics of it, and I would resign and become a full-time student, and everything else would just fall into play.
Awesome. Tanya?
That's good. I would also resign. I would resign and do my foundation full time. But we all have a way of living and an expectation, so I still have to work. But when I do resign, I will focus on my foundation full time. I really enjoy the impact of young girls and women, and I think that's where my passion lies.
Okay.
So I would do that.
And there are so many connections to still be made.
Yeah.
You find, but you just don't have the time to reach out and to
Right.
travel and really make those connections to flourish. And I think having the time, the bandwidth to do it, you could take your level of businesses to a whole new higher level of elevation.
So what I wanted to do is just take a moment to turn over the show a little and allow you ladies to ask me a question. So we could start with whomever's.
I have a question.
Okay.
We talked about perception earlier, and I think many of us perceive that you have mastered the work-life balance, and you referenced prioritizing. How did you get to that point? Because I do think that's a state of maturity that many women, even young girls, aspire. They have school, they have activities, they have friends, they're trying to balance it all. How do they start to kind of get some tools in their toolkit to better be able to do that?
For me, it really was turning my life over to God. Just hands down. And again, still a work in progress. And just asking Him to order my steps and receiving what was given to me.
Surrender.
Right.
Surrender.
Oh,
Like this.
yeah.
Surrender.
Oh.
It really was about just asking and receiving and having the courage to step out and doing it. And then having my daughter, I said this during a previous interview, that was such a pivotal changing point for my life.
Definitely.
It's like I did a complete 180 once I had her, because I thought really about how she would perceive me. See, the perception of my daughter weighs heavily on me before any other perception. And it's about how she views me as a woman, how she views me as a mother, and how she views me as a child of God. Those things are important to me.
Absolutely.
And that's my answer to that. So
That's good.
That's good. So a question you posed to us, what would you do if you were not afraid?
I would hands down call Oprah up and ask if I could use the studio. If I could use the Harpo studio. And just full time do what I'm doing. You know, I love it. Not just for myself, but I think about the lives that are touched through dialogue. I think about, you know, the little girls that will watch the show.
Yes.
Hands down, I would run my business full
Yes.
time and tour the world. Everything that's on my vision boards in my office, I would do it.
So I could watch you, Yanla and Shaniqua.
And
Shaniqua, that's right.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Hands down,
Right.
I would fall in the same
Right.
category as you ladies. Full-time business,
Yeah,
but
that's
again,
right.
life's priorities and
Yeah.
knowing when is my time
Right.
isn't, you know, that's important.
Right.
So, yeah.
Good.
Did you have a question, Shaniqua?
Where do you see yourself in 10 years? How far do you want your success to go?
Absolutely. Owning my own practice. I'm starting my master's in social work.
Great.
And focusing on family and children. Touring with my books and CDs and doing the show full time, not just from this particular set, but a studio set, and just being the woman God has called me to be.
Great
The woman
plan.
God called me to be. So,
Absolutely.
so thank you guys for this.
Thank you
for
Thanks
this
for having
dialogue.
us.
This is good. Thank you for the opportunity to share.
Oh,
Yes, I
thank you.
appreciate it.
When we return, we'll be joined on the set by 2 superstar young ladies and 1 rising star. Stay tuned. So we're back and we're joined by Ms. Darjane Somerville
Hi.
and Ms. Tamaya Holman.
Hi.
Thank you, girls. Are you nervous?
Yes.
Nervous?
No. Yes.
No need to be nervous. No need to be nervous at all. So I'll start with Darjane. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you had a great experience this summer. I know it personally, but I wanted you to share with the group one of the what I thought was just an awesome experience for you this summer.
Well, this summer I spent it working at a law firm as an intern, which was a lot of fun. We went to court several times and I helped with some of the cases, and then I helped with a lot of the behind the scenes paperwork and finding people, and then like helping with certain like files, because a lot of people were filing for like divorce and stuff, so I had to help like get like certain dialogues and different forms filled out and stuff. So it was a good experience for what it's actually like to be a lawyer, because that's something I would like to do, majoring in political science and then becoming a patenting lawyer.
Wow. And you're in what grade, Darjane?
I'm in 11th grade.
11th grade.
Yes.
And what are your hobbies and interests other than obviously aspiring to be a lawyer? What other hobbies and interests do you have?
Well, currently I'm doing FBLA, which is Future Business Leaders of America.
Okay.
I am a dancer, and I played volleyball last year, and I've been on the mock trial team for this will be my 3rd year. And I also like to sing and dance a little bit.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I can sing too, Darjane.
Oh.
But I won't do it for the same
We'll
one.
duet.
I won't do it for the same one. I'll save that maybe for the end. Well, that's awesome. I think
Thank
it's
you.
great. I think you're an inspiration to young ladies. And I just encourage you to continue to step out and do the things that tickle your heart.
Thank you.
You know, things that make you smile. Okay? Miss Tamaya Holman. Amaya, I'm sorry. I said Tamaya. So, do you want me to talk about you, or do you want to talk about me? Because I could go on and on talking about you, but I'll let you talk about you.
This is my first year in high school, and I started my cupcake business like 3 years ago, and I make like different types of cupcakes for parties, different occasions, and
They're delicious.
Yes, you brought some here for the set, and
Yes.
I mean, just awesome.
yes.
What's the name of your business?
Mimi's Cupcakes.
Mm-hmm. You have your own website?
Yes.
So give it a little shout out. Come on. What's the website?
MimiSweets.com.
Oh yes.
MimiSweets.com. So if you guys are looking for really great, delicious cupcakes made by Miss Maya here, I would place an order immediately. So what we wanted to do for this particular segment is to really bring you both together, and we have questions that you've that you would like to have answered. And you've written them out yourselves. I haven't just got them, so you know neither party knows what will be asked of them. But I will start out with the daughters.
Okay.
Questions that you've not start out with the daughters, started with the mothers. Questions that you would like answered. Okay. So, and I'm not sure who wrote the question, so I'm going to throw it over to Adrienne to answer this particular question. If you didn't have a support system, how do you think you would be successful today?
Wow, without a support system, I would not be successful at all. I had an aspiration to go to college, but I didn't have the infrastructure, I didn't have the money, I didn't have the encouragement other than pretty much my grandmother pushing me to do it. I didn't have a vehicle. I had to work, and I had an organization, the Delta Sigma Theta sorority, that believed in me enough to give me the money to go. I had the credentials, but I didn't have the infrastructure to get through it and not advance and excel through it. I had friends of family members, I had teachers, and I had a grandmother that when I was willing to give up, pushed me even harder to continue. And it is having a support system. I was taking the city bus and also just trying to work to keep my living expenses. I think it's very important to have a support system. And I think realizing how I had to get there, it's even more important to be able to make it easier for other women and other young girls with the same aspiration and certainly the potential. They just need opportunity and access.
Okay. So Darjanae, since your mom answered that question, I will ask you this particular question. How is your mom a support system for you?
Well, that's an easy one. I could probably go on and on about that. But I think my mom definitely like motivates me, especially where I've seen like other kids don't have it. Mm-hmm. Like she definitely has pushed me a lot. Like if maybe I didn't do like I might have done well on a test, but like maybe I missed like 8 points. She'll motivate me to get the other 8 points. And like to me that means a lot. Like she's always pushing me to try new things and do different activities and really like broaden my horizons and not just look at the same thing, but make sure that like I have a like well-rounded perspective of life too, just through like traveling and going different places. I think she definitely goes out of her way to like support me and also like try to broaden my horizons so I have a better outlook on life when I'm older.
Mm-hmm. So if she wasn't sitting here, with all that said, what would you say to her?
I think I would tell her how much I appreciate what she does for me. Because I know sometimes like it doesn't seem like I realize it, but I usually do. I just don't usually know how to tell her.
So let me stop you. Because she is sitting here, how about you take that opportunity to just tell her?
I just want you to know that I really appreciate everything that you do and everything that you try to do for me, because I know it's not easy and I know sometimes I'm really difficult to deal with. But I appreciate that you haven't given up on me and you still try to go out of your way to support me and do like a lot for me because you want to see me succeed.
Thank you, Darjanae. I love you.
That's gonna make me.
Oh my goodness, thank you.
Miss,
I don't think I've ever heard that. I'm appreciative of all of this just for that.
See how awesome that is?
Yes, thank you.
That's awesome.
I appreciate
And
it.
thank you for having the courage to say that, okay? I appreciate that so much.
Wow.
All right, Miss Holman. Have you experienced women bashing competition in the workplace?
In the workplace. Bashing, women bashing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have.
/ competition.
I have. Over the years, I've been working for 25 plus years now. It's funny because you get in a position of that you work really hard to get in, and there's some women who just don't want to see you move up the ladder. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, and especially among our people, it's even more difficult to deal with the folks who you think are your friends and your colleagues and supporters, and they still don't want you to see you climb the ladder. But what I will say to them is that you don't determine my destiny. What God has for me is for me. And so no matter who comes in that way or think they're coming into my path, He's already laid out my plan. And He already knows that what I can do, all things are possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
That's awesome. And what would you say to the two young ladies sitting here for when they may witness it?
Yeah.
What would you give them the advice on how to handle this particularly with competition? I think competition amongst women, I wish it didn't happen,
Right.
but it does. I think it starts at,
Middle school.
middle school
Yeah.
and beyond. So what would you say to them, because they'll experience it?
Yeah, I would say first find someone you can trust to talk to. You need to let it out. Girls tend to hold things in and not really say what's on their mind, but you need to release it. Whether it's your mom or a trusted confidant or even a mom's friend, be able to release that information and just persevere. Bullying, competition is part of life, unfortunately, and you have to learn how to overcome it. And keeping God first to help Him guide you and protect you from all of that hurt, harm, and danger. So I would give you those thoughts.
And good things come to good people.
Yep.
Yeah,
So I just don't engage in it.
Yep.
exactly.
Now, girls, so your moms have written out questions that they would like to have answered. So I'm going to start with Maya first. And here's the question for you. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
I like to finish high school with honors, and then I like to go to college. I want to go to A&T in North Carolina. And then after college, I like to open my own business, the cupcake business, start a family, and then I want to also major in IT in college. So I want to work with computers just like my dad.
Oh, wow. Look at you.
That's nice.
So you're going to have the cupcakes, Mimi Sweets,
Yes.
and like a storefront.
Yes.
That's what we envision for you. That's awesome. That's an awesome plan.
Thank you.
So just keep it at the forefront, and I believe it'll come true.
Thank you.
Ms. Darjanae,
Yes.
I have a question for you as well. So in years to come, what memorable mother-daughter lessons learned will you share with your children?
Well,
All those memories.
I think the number one lesson that I'm still trying to learn, but like haven't got it yet, but I think it's important for anyone to know is to love yourself. I think my mom tells me that all the time, and I'm working on it, but I haven't really got there yet with that. I think that's important because I feel like if you don't, you're always going to constantly be searching for something to fill what you're supposed to be filling yourself. I think another one that my mom has taught me is to just always be going for the best. Don't ever settle for less than what you know you could do. Because if you leave it all on the table, then you won't get as far as someone that takes everything and puts it all into what they want.
That's awesome. Let me pull one thread
Okay.
and say that I love you. Your mom loves you. And your dad, of course, loves you. But you hit it on the head, honey. If you don't love yourself, that's like talking to a wall, me saying what I just said to you. But I would just encourage you to find the courage to love yourself, okay? Because it takes courage to really be able to accept who you are when we're faced with so many messages that we're not enough, we're not pretty enough, we're not thin enough, we're not smart enough, we're not, for me, growing up, I wasn't light enough. I struggled with my complexion for years. Growing up in the South, I was always told that I was beautiful for a dark girl, and not understanding the messaging and the scarring that it did to me. So it took me a while to really, it wasn't until I was in my 20s that I really started to love myself. Because without that love, you give away what God has set aside as precious. But it probably wasn't until I was about 23 or so. Even married, like my first year in marriage, I wasn't really loving myself. I didn't even really know who I was. But it took courage for me to really step into who I am and who God created me to be. and accepted. Okay, so I just applaud you for having the courage to say that you're working in that area. And there's going to be other girls that will watch this show that they're not loving themselves. And they're giving away what God has set aside to be precious. Or they're scarring what God has set aside to be precious. And so just hearing you say that, I think you put them that much further into the pathway of really loving themselves. Okay, so thank you for that.
Now, I just want to add, I always try to tell girls, and including my daughter, that there's no one like you.
Yeah.
Your uniqueness is profound. You're God's masterpiece, and He put His all into you. And even in my 40s, I have on my mirror of my bedroom 4 things that I say and I encourage her to say. And the first thing is I'm beautiful. The second thing is I'm loved. The third thing is I'm confident. And the fourth thing is I'm me, authenticity.
Isn't
So
that
I
awesome?
encourage all girls to believe that and to continue, even in my 40s. As I say my prayers in the morning, I recite exactly who I am.
Because the truth is, you are only you.
Yep.
You have to accept it, and there's a freedom that comes with being who you are. We can look and compare and even compete with other people, but you will never be them.
Exactly.
When you really think about it, like I will never be them because that's not who I was created to be.
Right.
I was created to be me.
Right.
And there's a freedom and a confidence. And I think you step into your womanhood when you understand that I will never be whomever.
And that I have some gifts
Yeah.
that you don't. And that's what makes me
Unique.
And
Yeah.
I'm so unique. So own your gifts.
Yeah.
And then you'll flourish. And others will admire and respect you for it too.
Let me ask you this, Darjane, and everyone can answer this question before we wrap up. What is one gift that you would like to, if not, what's the word I'm looking for? If you weren't afraid, what is one gift you would share with the world? One gift that you have that you would share with the world?
I think if I wasn't afraid of it, I would like to help other people more that were in issues and times of crisis. I'd want to actually open up some type of career that would help other people. But I'm more afraid of what people would either think of me or I'm more afraid of it not working out. So it's easier for me because there's a lot of careers I would like to do, like being a lawyer, but that's always been something that's also drawn to my attention too. But I'd be too scared that it wouldn't work out or people wouldn't take me seriously enough to understand.
Okay. What about you, Adrienne?
A career.
Or just a gift that you have that maybe we may be surprised about that you would share with the world if nothing kept you back.
I believe I have a gift that allows me to enable others to identify their gifts.
Okay.
I think I have an ability to influence and shape the lives of others if given the opportunity to be in their presence, if given the floor. I think I can, I don't think there's any lost souls. I think they're just not discovered. And so I like the ability to lift people up. And I think given a platform and a place of service to be able to maximize that, to touch more lives, I think is what I'd like to do, somehow position myself to do that.
Okay. Tanya? A gift that you would share with the world.
All of my gifts are being shared. All of them. I sit here thinking, a gift that no one knows that I really have.
Yeah. Maybe something that would be a surprise to us all.
A gift that I haven't embraced is the gift of ministry, evangelism. And I struggle with that because I don't want it to be like that.
Yeah.
But God is directing me in that path. So that will be a gift that first of all, I have to embrace it and know that it is a gift. But it's been shown to me in different areas of my life that is the path that my life will take.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Move over, Joyce, Maya.
Maya, we know you're cupcake, but we know you have other gifts and talents.
I like helping people. Like sometimes in class when people need help, like giving them more help so they can succeed more in class. Like some people have hard time focusing in class by other people distracting them. So I like to help them like on the side or help them like during lunchtime or something.
Okay.
Just to help them succeed.
Okay.
Big sister.
Well, that's awesome, ladies. And I know you didn't ask me, but I'm going to answer. So I've always had a dream of being a backup dancer. And if I was not afraid, and if Usher was still touring, I would be dancing. I just thought I would tell you guys that.
You're the dancer.
I don't share that with many people,
Yeah.
but that's me. I know you guys went hard and heavy, but that's something that I've always thought about. Just choreograph, dance,
That's good.
tour.
Energy.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's what I see. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. When we return, we're going to be joined by a rising superstar, my daughter, Miss Jada Cousins. And now we have my favorite young lady in the world, Miss Jada Cousins. So thank you for joining us, Jada. Okay, Jada, so I have your question that you wanted to have answered. And it says, why do you care so much about your daughter, and why do you give her the right love? Well, for me, I care so much about you because you're so lovable. You have, you give me inspiration every day. And you know what? You give me the courage to be who I am. Something that I know that God has instilled in you is courage to just be Jada. I know I pick and I pull at you about different things, but you're not afraid to just be who you are. And not only that, it's what I've been ordained to do is to love you. And because of that, well, I will say this, because I love who I am, I can love you freely. And give you the right love. And give you the right love. What about you, Tanya? What would you say to that same question? Why do you give your daughters, the right love is what she said.
The right love. I like that choice of words. One, again, ordained to do so. And they love me back.
Yeah.
You know, so you can't help but to reciprocate.
Yeah.
Their innocence, the way that they look at you, the way that you look at them, it's just a natural fit.
Yeah.
You know, I thank God for just giving me the opportunity to raise such awesome girls.
Yeah.
I think it's easy to love. It's just easy, it's just a natural fit, and I just love the way that they're growing up and coming into their own, so to speak.
Okay. What about you, Adrienne?
I think it's easy, agree with the being ordained, but it's easy because it's natural, it's instinctive, higher level of animalistic behavior. It's natural to love your cub and to be the lioness when I need to be.
Yeah.
I can do that too.
Okay.
Yes.
But I think it's easy to do because they are lovable, and you know you have an opportunity to mold and shape and influence, and it's the love that gives you the door to transcend into doing so.
That's awesome. And before we end, I want to give the girls an opportunity to answer the same question. And I'll start with you, Miss Jada. Why do you love your mom?
Well, for your compassion, I would like to tell you that you always give me great food. You always give me the right love. You get me stuff that I want. You got me a dog for my birthday last year.
Okay.
And plus, I would like to notice that all the daughters here like their mothers so much because they care of how much they give them the right love.
Well, thank you for answering that, little Jada. What about you, Maya?
You do so much for me.
I do.
You motivate me to do, you make me go farther than where I need to go, and just love God and keep Him first in my life, and I just love you.
Good.
And Ms. Darjane, I know you spoke about it earlier, but we'll just put it in the context for this particular question. Why do you give your mom love?
I love my mom because I feel like in the end, like, a lot of people can leave that's in your life that say, like, oh, they never leave and stuff all the time, but I feel like the one person that won't leave will always be your mom, no matter what you've done that's might be really bad. I just feel like she's always going to be in your corner. Not because she technically has to be all the time, but because she wants to be at the same time. And I think when you have someone in your life that's like that, it's really important to keep them in your life because you don't know what could happen.
And that's awesome.
I got your back.
We all have your backs.
Yeah, we do.
So,
Exactly.
again, I would just like to end with saying thank you all for joining me today and just being authentic and real and sharing a bit of your lives with us. I would say to anyone that's watching, thank you first for joining us for the show. And I would just encourage you to love yourself. Ms. Darjane spoke about it earlier, and I think it's just key and pivotal to who you are. Loving yourself and others. It's an important life tool that I pray that you would master, and I pray that you would continue to share your gifts with the world. Thank you again for joining the segment of Seek Purpose, Live Dreams. That's a wrap, ladies!
That was good.
Thank you so much.
Jada's cooking in that season in that lamb. I thought you were going to talk about that lamb.
She said it's all the food my mom cooks. She loves it.
I thought she was going to say like the lamb stew.
Mama, she been listening.
Thank you, crew. We appreciate it.